Hello. So I'm going to do a second recording of this because the first recording I decided was crap. So I'm going to record this again. Thank you, Link. Okay. So what we're going to do is finish off the rest of the head. We should be at this point now where we've got the main top of the cranium, the eye mask, the bandit mask, the muzzle mask, and the lip mask, including the ski mask to connect the back of the head there. What I've got here is the OG, the original Terry off Sketchfab in her original form, as well as two edge flow breakdowns that we're going to look at. Okay, so this is the shape of the Terry's nice and smooth. We've got nice defined jawline, some nice shapes in there. We've got, if you look closer, we've got the bandit mask, the muzzle mask, the lip mask, the eye mask, even the ski mask. They're a little bit more dense than what we've got at the minute because this has been worked on a bit more. But here's the breakdown currently that we're thinking about. Minus the, you can ignore the purple one because we're going to talk about that in a sec, but we've got the eye mask in yellow, the bandit mask in green, the muzzle mask in blue, and the lip mask in red. Okay, those are the forms we've got at the minute. And we're going to introduce the face mask in this at the beginning to kind of help us define out the rest of the face, the rest of this kind of form. So this is what we're going to first start off with, because as soon as we get this shape in there, it's going to start to make a lot more sense. And then we're going to start to fill in the back of the cranium. This whole section here, because this is pretty easy to fix up around here. We've just got to do a little bit of edge direction, basically setting up some, right, we're going to take out some edges that are coming from the front, back here. We're going to take some of those out. And then after we've done that, then we've got to start thinking about this. So we look at the orange. These are general directions in which we want edge flows to be going. So from the mouth here, you see, if you look carefully, some of these edge flows don't necessarily match up, but it's the direction we're talking about. From the inside of the mouth here, from the top lip, these will be going into the inside of the eye there. As we wrap around, we're going to start to then go into the corner of the face. And then if we come further around, we're going to come down into the corner of the mouth, corner of the jaw, into the chin. So this is the general kind of direction, because these are actually really important, especially the top ones and the bottom ones, because these are mimicking actual facial muscles, which is obviously important when you're doing character modeling, to bring it back to some form of reality. I've also got in yellow here a mask around the ear, which is helpful to get us to actually get the shape of the ear in there. But these are the kind of things we want to be thinking about. So I'm going to leave these here for now as kind of reference pieces to always come back to. But first of all, what we're going to do is take this and we're actually going to make what I call the face mask. This is this loop that comes around. Now what this is for, what I like using it for, is to create a jaw shape here. Quite early on, making the shape of the jaw, using whatever information I've got up here, I can get that in there. That's going to help me form the corners of the jaw around to the chin. It's also going to help me kind of start to set up edge flows to run into each other, into the chin. It's very easy to do. So if I go, oh, I have to set up my 3 view again. So I'll go to panels, edit panels, repaint side by side, middle perspective, front and side. There we go. Go away. Don't need that, but I need it on you. There we go. Right, so I'm going to look at my geometry. I'm going to look at, okay, what edges can I actually extrude down to make the jawline? Now, I want something that doesn't go into the ear or align to the ear. I want to bring something that comes in front of the ear forward. So I'm looking at my geometry here, and I'm seeing this edge comes down, can come down in front of the ear. So I'm just going to extrude that down to where the jaw bends. So we've got the flat part of the jaw here, then it curves round into the actual mandible. So I'm going to bring it down to about there. Move the edges, so now this edge is facing in that direction. And then just bring it down to the front of the chin. Pretty much exactly what we did for the back of the head. And then I'm just going to snap these to the front like that. Make sure that the vertexes are aligned to the grid, which they apparently do, which is good. There you are. There we go. Now I want the end of this to come to about where the pad of the chin is. I grab my this. So I want it to come down to about where the pad of the chin is. Now what I've done there is already dictate the shape of my jawline. I've already got the shape of my jaw in there. So, you know, I've done a bunch of work's already been done for me. Now what I want to do here is just look at the information that I'm going to be dealing with around here. Well, I've got my muzzle mask. I've got the halfway point there. And if we look at this, I've got one part there which is coming into the bottom of the jaw. I've got one which is coming into the top of the jaw. So I'm doing that. So if I come back to my perspective on my side view, I'm going to add a center line in here to give me some information to direct edges into, but also just to shape the jaw a little bit more. And then do the same either side of that. Shape the jaw a little bit more. Look underneath, see how the jaw looks from underneath. Probably needs to come out a little bit. Because what I can do with these edges I'm adding in now is just start to align them to whatever edges I've got here. So I can see this edge that I've just added in there is lining up to this one. That middle edge kind of lines up to this one, but I'm not going to kind of, I'm not going to decide that straight away, but I know this one lines up with this one, and if I just add another edge in here to line up this one, like that, I'm getting things kind of set up ahead of time, kind of ready for the future. Scale those down a little bit. Now I don't want these touching each other yet, because I'm probably going to end up putting edges in between. So I'm just going to give myself a gap, just like I've done with the lip mask. And give myself a little bit of a gap there, but I can see that I got faces that can line up with each other across there. So if I go back to here, you can see there that center line that I put in basically lines up with this, and then flows down like that. So if I wanted to, I could start to connect all these things together using that center line. I'd have to combine them both together, or I could extrude out and just start to fit the pieces in place, ready for a merge. So I can be like boom, 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 just using V-snap. Get in there, there you go. So I'm getting those in there. Do a bit of arranging. So kind of like I said, kind of already getting that information there. Let's get some information coming in from my eyeball section here. So I know exactly what I want to do here because I've got that edge fold running in here, running down to here, then into the top of my lip here. So again, I can just do some extrusion to just get the flow outlined. I'm not merging anything just yet. I don't need to. I could do. I could be really confident, be like, right, I'm going to combine everything. But just for now, I want to get that flow in there. Oops. That's going to go in that direction. That's going to go in that direction. I could do the same thing for the inside here. So I know these are definitely going to just flow into the edges below it. So again, just doing that extrusion and just V-snap these in place. That information is coming together nicely. Very, very good. Now this is where we can start to actually increase the amount of edges going around, because just for the sake of shape, I know, and for future proof, and I know that I'm going to put another edge in here. I know I'm going to put another edge in here. I know I'm probably going to put another edge in here, and I'm definitely going to put more edges in here and at the top here. So whenever I add an edge in, say if I'm adding an edge in here, which is going to come down into my jaw, because I'm trying to keep stuff symmetrical. Remember that this edge here is the corner of my mouth. If I add an edge in here, I'm going to add an edge in here. Same for this. If I add an edge in here, I'm going to add an edge in here. I'll end up kind of fixing that underneath later on, but I kind of want to keep things as symmetrical as I can. Now my neck, before I actually start moving on, my neck, I'm going to just add a couple of divisions either side, because this currently is a 8-sided shape. But this is going to have to be a 12-sided shape because it's going into my body, which is 12 sides. And like I said, we're pretty much done with our body and its resolution at the minute. So what I want to do is just make sure that this is 12 sides wrong. Well, it's currently 8 sides, so if I bevel 2 edges, here and here at the front, these 2 corner edges, bevel, what does that give me? That gives me 10. Okay, so if I do the same thing at the back, bevel these 2 back corners, there you go. So that should be now 12. So that's now ready to be combined, merged, or whatever to my neck, my body. So, and I can, while I'm here as well, I can just kind of fill in this space. Like that. So, already got all this space kind of, on the way to getting done. So I'm actually going to grab everything to do with my face, combine it, which is going to get rid of. All right, so I had a little bit of a crash then, but I recovered the file. So yes, I want to combine this, make sure, because when I duplicate it, combine it, I'll lose that duplicate special function, and duplicate over again. So I'll work on this now. So making sure that I've got that duplicate set into instance in the geometry, so I get my copying function. Cool, so now I've got that information in there. These are all connected, or these will be connected if I just hit merge. There we go, so now we've got all that lovely information connected. A lot of stuff is being done for us. Okay, let's have a look back at what our facial topology is looking like at the minute. Okay, so we're pretty much doing the same thing. If we move this over, we've pretty much got the same information. We've got some information coming in from the bottom of the mouth, down, corner of the mouth, over, either upper corner going into the corner of the head, lower corner going into the bottom of the jaw, like in this. We've got the information coming into the top of the eyebrow there, which is good. So, one thing we can do is just look at where this information is going on our reference here. Now, I've got a 8-sided loop for the ear. And as if we count round those edges, we've got 1 in the middle, and I've got 1 edge from the corner of the mouth here. So if we look closer as well, the corner of the mouth here is kind of tilted down in the end. So this is technically the upper part of the corner of the mouth. I got 1 of these. This is why I'm also going to split this in half later on. I got 1 of them coming into the bottom of the ear and 1 of them coming into the corner of the jaw, as well as this edge here coming into the top of the ear. So what I can do is actually set up that by setting up this little loop for the ear as well. So, going back to my 3 view, oh, I had a crash, didn't I? So, let's just clear all the history for now. So, delete all by type history. Set up those panels again. Getting very used to doing this. Right, so perspective in the middle, front on the left, side on the right. Okay, let's move this head backwards. There we go. Right, so let's set up that little edge loop for the ear. I'm just going to bring this forward a tiny bit as well. So the edge loop is just an 8-sided edge. So, I'm just going to make a cylinder, make it 8 sides. Delete all but the front section. I'm just going to shape it so it kind of fits the profile of the ear. But I'm not going to go for the outside of the ear here. I'm going to go for where the ear actually connects to the head. If I look at my perspective, I can close it here. So the inside of the loop here, right there, it's where the ear meets the head, not where the top of the ear is. So I've kind of got to think about that. So making sure the middle is at the middle of the ear, middle, bottom of the ear, middle in the middle of the front, middle, middle at the back. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly extrude that, delete the middle, and just start getting these into place. So moving the outside to be a little bit more around the outside of the ear. Now I will say that this bottom left corner here is going to pretty much adjoin to the jawline there. So I know that one for a fact. And this one's going to have something set up to do the same, the top left. I can just grab these. Move these around. Again, trying to use my mind's eye to see where the ear connects to the head to make this kind of shape. So I'm not tracing the outside shape here. I'm tracing where the inside connects to the head. I'll get something like that. And then I can just move it into place and just kind of rotate it in. I can use my best judgment here as well to kind of just, you know, get an idea about where it's going to sit. So I'm just rotating that whole thing in. Right, so you can see there where that bottom corner matches up nicely. So, bring you forward. That bottom corner there. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So let's have a look at what we've got here as well. So we've got one division going across here. So I'm going to set up a division for the top corner here and this middle division here. So bring in an edge, top corner there, so then at least these two vertexes can connect. And the middle, so at least these two vertexes can connect. Bring those in like that, which is cool. And now I can begin to set up some information here. So like I said before, if I cut one edge across here, I'm going to cut a symmetrical section underneath. So if I put a cut across there, that top part of the corner of the mouth, I'm also going to put one down here. And I'm going to set up those edge folds as well. When I'm doing that, I'm going to set up those edge folds. So I know that that edge here, or this one, is going to be coming into the top of the ear, or the bottom of the ear to there, and this one here is going to be coming into here. So I can do like that. So you can see the same shape is appearing there. Although we have got a gap in between. I can make that gap myself later on, but we have got a gap in between. In fact, if I wanted to set this gap up ahead of time, what I have to do is add another edge in to create that gap, because currently I'm not allowing myself a gap in between this going into the bottom of the eye and this going into the corner of the cheek. So I have to move these up a little bit. Same for this, the inside of the mouth, like that. And then if I add that edge in there, which I'm not going to actually, because it's in this case, I'm not going to add a symmetrical one down here yet. Right, so take those two original edges, bridge them across there. There we go. So now I've got that edge open there. Now this edge is going to go into the top of my ear, right across there. Like that. And this is starting to set up a lot of information to actually connect the corner of my cheek together. Because you can see here, this, I'll color it a different color. From here to here. Let's color this, that one. So, right there. So you can see here where the eye mask, or where the loop going into the bottom of the eye is, creates an edge there, which is then going to eventually wrap around. We've got from the corner of the eye here, we're going to come down and wrap around. So we're setting up all this information ahead of time. And what I can do is just put an edge in the middle of these three edges I've just made. And just that to kind of, because you can see there from the front, it does not look like a face. It doesn't look great. So I can just add those, or bring those vertexes out to shape the face a little bit more. Bring them down. So I'm look for a, what's this? This is going to be essentially this edge here. So for now, it's going to look wacky. Don't worry, it's going to look wacky. I'm going to leave it like that. And you might be thinking to yourself, this doesn't look right. And you're correct. It does look weird. It looks odd. But we can fix all this stuff up. Never worry. Okay. So here we're starting to get those edge flows in there. We've got the under the lip edge flow there. We've got the into the eye edge flow. We've even got this awkward one going into the corner of the ear there, which is great. I apologize about that. I've just had a crash and I've had to work back to where I was before. So hopefully this is where I was before. If not, we're just going to step back a little bit. So I've got my edges there that I've just added in, my single edge that I added in to give me that gap that are going to come into the top of my ear. In fact, let's send that in. I don't want to add that. Like that. And then I can add the three edges in the middle there, which are going to correspond to basically about the middle part of my cheek here. Again, we're just getting in this to get some form and just a little bit of structure, if anything. Like that. Now I'm actually going to look at this mesh, do a save. I'm going to look at this mesh and think, right, where can I actually change some stuff to make my life a bit easier? So every now and then you'll have to do this, or you'll kind of like want to do this to just save yourself a bunch of head scratching later on, or you'll see solutions in the work you've already done, thinking, oh, well, if I do this, it'll make my life a lot easier, or it'll fix up problems. Because what I'm going to do now is actually delete some faces, re-bridge stuff, and actually connect some stuff. So we've got the gap above the ear here. I'm actually going to close this off. I'm not going to make any new faces. I'm going to bring down the faces at the top here, connect them to the top of the ear. So you can see here how the bandit mask connects to the ear mask. And I'm also going to basically delete some faces here and add an edge going down this section so that I can have two edges, basically two edges complete my jawline. So let's do the jawline first. So I'm going to delete that. And I'm just going to bring this forward a little bit so that this edge essentially lines up with this, and then this edge essentially lines up with this. I can put that edge in the middle there. Now, I'm not going to bridge between them. Oops, I'm not going to bridge between them. I'm just going to start grabbing the vertexes that relate to each other and just merge them together. Like that. Because this is closing this area now. Closing up this area. Which is what I want. And a lot of this information I will be fixing up and cleaning up and, you know, making look nicer later on. So obviously I've expanded the head section, this section a little bit. That's fine. Because what I'm going to do is, again, just see where I can start to send some of these edges around. Okay, see what we've got. I'm looking at this. Okay. I'm going to add an edge in here, just coming out the bottom of the eye. Oops. There, I'm going to follow an edge on there. So I can close this up. Again, just grabbing these two vertexes and merge them together. Then I can do that one. And then I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to add two. So I could do that using the multi-cut. Oh, sorry, the Mesh Tools Connect. Two. And then do the same thing, just close these up. Push that one into there. Into there. Again, just do a little bit of housekeeping while I'm here. Clean some stuff up, move some vertexes around. So then I've cleaned this area up, I've connected this area up. Now let's just take a second, let's just take a minute to look at the topology here. Look at the topology here and just see if we could possibly clean, if there's any way we could possibly just clean that up. We've got this big old stretchy face here. So how can we clean that up? Is there a way for us to clean that up? So I think what might be a little bit visually confusing in a minute is, one, we've got holes in our face and we've got edge flows which don't necessarily have obvious directions in which we can send them. Especially when we look at this, we can't necessarily see this matching up with this necessarily. But I think also it's because we've got quite a dense cluster of faces here and quite an open cluster of faces here. Especially this section here. So what I'm going to do is just start to condense down this area a little bit, kind of broaden stuff out, widen stuff out a little bit. I'm going to look at where I could send stuff. So I've got this face coming around. So I could technically send this edge over here and around into there. So again, I'm just going to make that decision and just go like, right, I'm going to try that out. So that gives me, if I again just do some moving of vertexes. Okay, so what have I got there? I've got 3 edges coming down into my head. So I could add them 3 divisions going down. And just close it up. So grab them vertexes, merge them together. Like that. And again, start to move some of these vertexes around, even grabbing the, make sure I've not got any holes in my mesh. I could even grab the sculpting tools. So let's grab my relax tool, for instance, and just start to make them small circles around there. Oh, that looks much nicer now. Much nicer. So you got that. It doesn't match up perfectly to this, but it's pretty damn close, I think. Pretty damn close. But what I've got there is a really kind of annoying section done, the cheek section. Because I've got edge flows coming down, so something clicking in the background. I've got edges coming down the side of the head, wrapping around into the cheek. And if you want to kind of look ahead, you could follow these 3 edges down and then into the cheek and basically follow this shape, which connects into the corner of the mouth here. But if you follow them steps that I've just done there, even though they're a little bit kind of fractious, you'll get to this position. Because there, yeah, we've got the cheek done, we've got edge flows coming in through the bottom of the eye, to the top of the lip, from the outside of the mouth into the cheek, corner of the mouth into the chin. There's edge flows that allow us to bend and stretch. We've opened up some areas here. We've got an edge flow for the ear. We've opened up some areas here, so I can add that edge into the back there, but I will also need to think about adding an edge in here. So I'm just going to hold off for that for the sec. I'm going to add an edge into the back of the head here, purely because this is now a massive open space, and I want to just not have that. So I'm going to have one edge back there. Oh, let me just... There you go. So that's looking good so far. I can close up this area in the nose because nothing's really going to come into this area anymore. So we start to bridge in these in the nose area. Like that. So now this is kind of getting to a position of nice controlled geometry. I can add in some edges. So for now, because I know I started off saying we're going to do the back of the head, we're going to do the front of the head. I guess I just fell into doing the front of the head first, but I can start adding edges in to just give myself a little bit more shape to the nose, because currently this nose is a little bit kind of, you got a big old open space here. But this big old open space here. And I can send an edge up round to the back of the head for now, giving me a little bit extra detail. I also want to add a couple of edges into the nose here because I've added one in here. So I kind of want to add one in here, and I might even add another one to the outside of the head here, just to give myself a bit more information up here. Okay, so this is where I start to kind of think about, extending the detail to something more like this level. You can see here, Terry hasn't got that edge wrapping around in like that end shape where you might see on some of my models. So you got this little end shape at the top of the front of the face there. She's not got it on here. She has got it underneath the nose though. We redirect, but she has got it around the back of the head. You can see where it comes down across there, so it wraps around. And this is just basically edges coming in from the front of the face round, and they don't then get sent back. They get kind of turned into themselves and wrap the back around. Okay. So let me add that division to the lower part of the face here. That's going to give me a bit more information. Add one up here, around there. I'm going to move around vertexes as well to space stuff out, to regulate stuff out. But that gives me a little bit more information. I will deal with this and send it around into itself in a bit. I'm going to send 1, 2 across there to give myself a little more information to the corner of the eye. And again, I'm going to hold off doing this one just because I don't want to send loads of edges down, because remember, I'm limited to the amount of edges down here. Technically, I have got more in this neck. How many have I got in this neck? I've got 16 in this neck. Technically, I've got 4 more in this particular neck, but I'm going to really strive to maintain this as 12 sides. I don't want to add another 4 in there just to justify getting my face net. I'm going to have to do a little bit more work. And then later on, I can add, like when we come to do the nose and stuff and the ears, I can add more edges around these areas here. But just for now, I want to get this area kind of sorted out. So I've added my edge, 2 edges in the inside of the eye, my 1 edge at the top here, my 1 edge at the bottom here, and my 1 edge here. That's going to give me a nice bit of information to just start regulating some stuff around, shaping the head around. So pretty much we're done with the topology of the front of the face, excluding key details like nose and mouth and lips and stuff. It's just a case now of arranging. Now, I'm going to delete all the history for this because I've done a lot of modeling, so I just want to kind of take away that history. Now I'm going to come to my modeling toolkit. I'm going to turn on my transform constraint edge slide, because what this is, if I grab just an edge and I just start pulling out to the left or to the right, it just starts coming out like that, as you would expect it to. But if I turn on transform constraint edge slide, what it does is it will move to the right, or whatever way I direct it, but it's going to conform to the shape, it's going to conform to the edge here. So see, when I drag to the right, it only moves across that edge. Now with that, what I can do is really nicely just move stuff around without deforming the shape of the face of the object too much. It's a nice easy way to regulate out the shapes a little bit. And oh, I'm not added that edge to the top of the head yet, ever. So I'll have to do that in a sec. Let me just grab these edges, move them in. There you go. So yeah, I've not added that edge to the inside of the nose there, so I will just add that one in there, which again, I'm just going to move some of these edges around. There's only a few times that I'm going to add edges that kind of go into areas I've not completed yet. The only 2 I've done so far have been this corner and this corner of the face. Oh, this side, sorry, not corner. These 2. And that one. So then 3. Well, this one on the side, actually, I don't need to worry about because that is going around but it's only really these two I've added in. So that's an extra 4 edges I've got to deal with, but that's fine. That's fine. We can deal with those really easily. Because then just with those simple little edges added in there, it's added these edges have added a bunch of information, a bunch of density to my model, where I can get a much smoother edge now. And yeah, I can just go around using that edge slide constraint just to move stuff around. Not worrying too much. All I'm really doing here is just doing a little bit of cleaning, just regulating out the distances. These are all going to get regulated out anyway. It's just nice sometimes to go around and clean up after yourself. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here because this is going to be like a 2-part video. So this is part video 1, and the second video is going to be doing the back of the head. But this is all part of like the same lesson, the same section. So see you in a sec.